Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to a new Eachine brushless racer, and I will say I am enthusiastic with this new model. This is the Lizard 95 and it's probably, I hope to, will be my new CB Doki Awards. So this one integrates all the fix we could apply for the last former Eachine Aurora model. It just for me are the perfect specification, but specification don't do everything. We have to test it in real open field, and test is all the promised will be hold. Okay, so what we have first a 90mm brushless machine, not 2S based, it's 3S based, so they did a bit lower the kV of the motor to handle a 3S battery. You can find the Eachine Mini Cube 10 ampere with a peak of 15 ampere with the Betaflight OSD built-in integrated, so that's great. You have a buzzer, you have some rear LED strip, okay, pentablade, you have a 48 channel video transmitter, 600 TVL CMOS camera, 114 maybe the weakest point, but more. It's not only 25 milliwatt, it's also switchable to 100 milliwatt. So if you want to play it in more large open field, it's possible. Really a lot of good news. So you have 3 versions: Free Sky with some telemetry working in D8 mode, some Fly Sky compatible with HDS2A, and Spectrum DSM2 DSMX. Let's discover this bundle. Okay, so let's open it. And my Free Sky version, first of all, you will find the specification instruction manual printed, well printed in color with quality papers. You can find all the splitting diagram to mount it to the assembly machine, all the reference, and here on the second page all the characteristics. So 95mm, 66 gram without battery. The flight controller is the F3 Omnibus with built-in Betaflight OSD, that's great. Motors, as I said, some 1104, classic for 19100mm machine, but kV only 6000, and thanks to this lower kV, it's possible to fly it without burning in 3S configuration. 10 ampere with a max peak of 14, BLLE S and D, shot 600 ready, props out some 50mm, more or less pentablade, camera 600 TVL, CMOS 1/4 inch sensor side, the video transmitter, as I said, 25 and 100 milliwatts, that's great. Betaflight OSD, flash with actually Betaflight 3.1, not the latest, so I will install the last one. And flight time announced to be about 4 minutes, okay, not bad. Buzzer ready, that's great. So you have all the configuration, how to, for example, to rescue your board with the boot pad, how to, for example, solder everything, that's great. And here you have the page dedicated to the video transmitter, the list of the 6 supported band, 48 channel in total, the classic rear button to select the band and the VFrame. The novelty here is on the first button, the front one. Now if you shortly press on it, you will cycle between 25 and 100 milliwatts, that's great. Long press on it, you will turn between NTSC and pale mode. No more mirror mode. I think it's a very good idea how to combine here in Taranis and so on. I will show whatever for the Free Sky D8 mode. So we have a cable. This one is used to plug your quadcopter into your computer to configure in Betaflight. So it's not a micro USB port, it's a basic GST. I think it's a 2mm or 1mm section, but very easy to plug. So just need and install like this your connector. Super easy to access and connected to the computer, that's great. I will explain insurance and more in detail. So the battery, it's a 3S model, 540 50mm ampere, sorry. 3S LiPo announced to have a discharge rate of 40C, which is not bad, and ending with XT30 connector, great. They understood to abandon of the GST connector from 3S, so I can give you some indication of the dimension, 53 by 30 by 14 I would say, and give some information about the weight. So this one, of course, will be more heavy than the 2S Eachine model. So because we have one cylinder more, it's heavy. It's 43, almost 44 grams. So expect to be above 100 grams in total weight, in my point of view. Let's give the weight of the machine standalone. Okay, immediately before to continue to the accessories. So we have 65.5 grams, not bad. And let's give immediately the total weight. If I can hold the battery as well, so it should be possible. So yes, as I said, we are just below 110 grams, but in 3S configuration with boosted motors should be a beastie. Okay, so don't worry for that. So the USB cable, a bag with some spare props. So this 50 millimeters, more or less 2-inch with the M2 screws. They are exactly to attach to the props, probably some 7 millimeters version, so M2 by 7. Good thing you have a sign now on top of it. You can't be wrong with some Firmware or Betaflight version where there is no specific mark between the top face and the bottom face. Now no more problem, no more doubt. You won't be wrong to install them. And what we have a small bag with some accessories, a lot of small rubber band. There are 6 like this to attach the front IO FPV camera. Okay, so you have some spare one. You have this micro USB adapter to this GST connector. If you absolutely don't want to use this cable, but your favorite micro USB cable, it's possible for 2 set of Velcro band. One positive and negative, I would say. That's great to secure completely your battery installation on the bottom side. We have some small M2 by 4 screws to lock your motor if you lose it. So be sure before the first flight to secure, check that they are correctly fastened. Add a small drop of glue, okay, some cyano or some lock-it. It's very important, okay, because with vibration probably they will be ejected, okay. What we can find also another screw, but not, and this I don't know, piece of foam maybe for the IO camera, okay, to secure behind the aluminum standoff, or to secure to eliminate some vibration. I don't know exactly. We have another bag with some Allen M2S screwdriver and another screwdriver, and that's all. So let's focus more a little bit and compare with the other Aurora series. So we have the Aurora 68, a 2S model, and on the right the Aurora 100, probably, and as you know, a super beast, but with some fragile 1.5 millimeters structure. Okay, so it's a super machine, super light, it's very enjoyable. Unfortunately, with the Betaflight 3.1, a lot of users reported some flip of the desk. I reported, but when you install Betaflight, the last version, etc., with different settings, most of the flip of the desk disappear. We have the same Minikube flight control board, so I do hope, please, no flip of the desk with this one. But anyway, in terms of structure, what we have a super 2.5 millimeters carbon arms frame. It's super rigid, super solid, so I'm absolutely not more afraid to break the frame. It sounds to be super solid. The lateral structure is 1.5 millimeter, which is great. Maybe I can regret there's no kind of standoff horizontally to secure completely the top, but the cloverleaf antenna is well jailed, well, not completely lose that. We have a part still exposed, and I think the antenna will touch the carbon, so in terms of radio propagation, it's not optimal. We need maybe a little more gap between two, don't have any contact. Anyway, the IO camera can be up tilt. It's actually in maximum position. We have something around 20 degrees, more or less, okay? And you can reduce the tilt angle, not to increase it. What we have, the buzzer here, okay, that's great. And for the FiSky receiver, you can see a micro EPX connector, so to the antenna. The actual position of the antenna is not pretty good. Okay, I strongly advise to install it more vertically on the rear side, but if you want to change your antenna to 2.4 GHz, no problem. We have this IPX connector, and for the FiSky receiver, we have a bind button completely on front. I hope you will be able to see. Okay, it's located here. You can access like this with a thin tip. So you have to press and keep it pressed while powering. So it will be a little bit tricky, my point of view. Okay, to do it, you will need a thin long tip to access to the bind button while connecting the XT30 connector. Anyway, I can show you how the light are. Okay, on the rear LEDs bar, and okay, with the 60. And good news, we have the Larsen effect already pre-programmed. That's pretty great. So on the video transmitter, we have two lights, one indicating the current band, and the other one is the current VFREC, and you should have another one indicating also, yes, it's just under the bottom switch. We have a third blue light indicating if we are in 25 milliwatt or in 100. Okay, it's not super obvious. Okay, but there is a third one, small one, just below the second rear switch. Yes. So as I said previously, this model comes with Betaflight 3.1. It's strongly advised to install the last version. Be aware, by default, the flight mode, if your switch flight mode is in upper position, will select the acro mode. Okay, the angle mode will be in the middle. So be aware if you are beginners, but in general you are not when you are buying such kind of model, but you are in acro, and by default everything is configured. Well, the no specific PIDs, but I think it's working well with the default PIDs. But most of flight mode are configured, or the serial S-bus FiSky receiver is configured, etc., etc. A lot of details have been preset. That's great. Maybe some details may be done and fine-tuned. What I can say about this machine, I'm just really enthusiastic. Okay, or maybe you will have to secure a little bit with some liquid electrical tape all this soldering job here about the ESC motors, but sounds to be good. And I think if you observe some vibration, some little bit jello with these props, install some resistor 4-blade model, then they are known to offer almost jello-free FPV flight. So that's great. You will extend a little bit the flight time because you have only 4 blades, but it will be a little bit less, I will say, punchy. Okay, you will have a little bit less power lift, no free lunge as we said. So now it's time to show you how to bind this machine in FiSky D8 mode. I will check that the telemetry is here for the FiSky receiver, and then go and show you the default Betaflight configuration and install the last build. Okay, this is the binding procedure. With your left hand, have the XT30 connector ready to be inserted, just not completely, just in the border. Okay, and with a thin tip, try to access like this to the bind button. And now, okay, this part is a little bit tricky. And just have to keep pressed. It's not obvious, to be honest. Okay, I hope it will be okay. And I will press the bind button here. And if everything is okay, the binding, the blue LED should disappear. It's the case. Then after a couple of seconds should reappear and start to flash. Okay, like this. So now you can disconnect everything, the radio and the quadcopter. Plug your quadcopter one more time. You turn on your radio. Okay, and we have a solid light, blue light, it's bound. Let's check the telemetry. And we have a RSSI signal. That's great. Well, so we have at least on the Betaflight OSD, this information will be displayed. It's super great. So really, I enjoyed it. It was the case for the last Aurora version, so it was not a surprise that the RSSI was there for this new Lizard 95. Let's check now the default Betaflight configuration. Okay, so let's check the default Betaflight configuration. I will connect and immediately check the current installed versions. So we have effectively a F3 Omnibus board with the Betaflight 3.1.0, so it's not exactly the last one, and to avoid or minimize the flip-ups deaths associated with exactly the same Eachine Minikube, I strongly advise to install the version 3.1.7 and above. So let's check the default setup. Okay. Connecting. Sometime is a little bit, you have to disconnect and reconnect. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now it's here. Sorry, it was a little bit long. And we have, in terms of port, the USB VCP for normal. UART1 is turned on, I don't know why, but at least we have the FuseSky S-Bus serial receiver, so you have to check that the serial is turned on for the UART3 if you really flash a new version of Betaflight and you have to reconfigure everything. Let's check the default configuration. We have D-Shot 600 turned on by default. Yeah, that's great. No specific alignment. We have a quad X, etc. We are monitoring the VBAT, yes, and the receiver is correctly configured. We have serial S-Bus communication protocol and specifically for the S-Bus. That's great. The flight controller frequencies for the PID loop 2 kHz, maybe we can push up to 4 kilos, and the gyro update to 8 kilo. It depends if the MCU for the 6-axis stabilization is connected in ESP or more SPI connection or E2C, E2C of SPI. If it's E2C, you cannot go very above 4 kilo, 8 kilos, and it's in SPI, you can push both a little bit more higher. So what we have the MISC Lizard 95 already written. Let's strip turn on OSD also, and know the telemetry. Okay, it's not a big drama. Phase safe is turned on drops, perfect. Let's check the PID tunings. We have the Betaflight controller. The default PIDs for me sounds to be the default from Betaflight 3.1 as well as the rate, so no specific. You will have to adapt to your own choice. Okay, I will give mine. The level stress also both angle and horizon is set to 50. No specific tuning paradoxically for the PIDs. Receiver, so I will have to turn on my radio. But good news, the receiver is also powered by the USB, and as you can see for my actual Devo 7A, I will have to change the channel mapping. So if you can see this avatar spinning like this, it means that you have to apply more a narrow elevator throttle rotor channel mapping, and now it's okay. And try to center all the channel on the value of 1500. I'm not so far, so that's great. So just small sub trim to apply, and be sure that all the value goes above 1900 and below 1100. Okay, to arm correctly the machine if you don't need or to want to use an arm switch. We can see the aux5 moving because it's associated with the RSSI channel. So this is a 9th channels, 1, 2, 3, 9th, and we can see in real time the RSSI collected by this auxiliary will be sent to Betaflight OSD. I can turn on and select the flight mode, etc. is working. So in terms of flight mode, you can see that by default the arm is set on the aux1. Okay, so for me it's the 3 level, and as I said previously, the aux2 is associated with the flight mode, and by default you can see that in upper position The flight mode will be acro because you have nothing here. In the middle position of your switch, you will be in angle, 6-axis stabilized, and on the last bottom position, you will be in acro plus air mode. Okay. The beeper is associated with aux3 by default, so I will change for my own radio, but it's up to you, to your number of switch available and so on. Okay, so let's check a little bit the OSD information. What I can see is that nothing has been really configured. I can see the default layout of all the elements. So I don't like, for example, for Racer to apply some horizon sidebar and so on. So when I will install the Betaflight 3.1.7, I will change all the OSD information. Okay, but it's good for Racer to display at least the throttle value. Okay, it's good. But let's check now the default LED strip. Oh, here it's configured. You can see that we have a Larsen effect to the left lights among the 4 available on the bar. So we have Larsen and it's associated with an indicator. Completely the third one is on the right indicator also, and the 2 central 1 and 2 respectively, associated with the throttle. Okay, so it's perfectly configured. Okay, that's great. So now it's time to also check the default BLLE configurator, what type of firmware is installed. So you will have to go to your I prefer to use BLLE configurators, so be sure that you have to be disconnected from Betaflight, and now you can connect, and then at this moment you will have to connect your battery. Okay, you won't hear a lot of music, it's normal because we are just shortcut the booting of the AC, and we can read setup. And we have the firmware version 6.5 is not the ultimate weight last one, but you can also turn on the break and stop if you want option. Really, usually I like to turn on, and I will write the setup. Okay, so now it's written, and I can now install the last Betaflight configuration. Okay, disconnect from here. Okay, so I'm ready to flash a new version, the last version of Betaflight. You will have to go disconnected to go to the firmware flasher panel, and you will have to select the right board. Actually, it's an F3 omnibus, so it should be around. Okay, omnibus here. So this is this one, by default is the F3, and select this rate mode, board mode, and the full ship erase. So and you have to select the last Betaflight version, so 3.1.7. As most of Betaflight setting, you will have to enter in the FU mode to flash the firmware, and if you meet some problem, you will have to install, thanks to Zadig driver fix, and work directly manually the compatible DFU driver. So I will attempt first to drive directly. So I will load the firmware. Okay, and I will click on flash. So as you can see, I've got an error here, and it's buzzing a lot. So I will go to the system manager, and you can see this line. Okay, you have to first of all to display hidden device, and you have this STM device in DFU mode. Sorry for the noise. And go to the update driver. Okay, and try to find on your computer. Okay, and here I will select on my own list, and I will select the STM bootloader compatible in DFU mode. I will install. Okay, and then I will disconnect the quadcopter. Sorry for the noise. Now I will reconnect the machine. Okay, and now, as you will see, as soon as I will press flash, it will work. And you can see the DFU mode is now available. It's buzzing while flashing, it's normal, but as soon as it will be okay, it won't emit any buzzing. Okay, so now it's done. So sometimes you have to disconnect the USB to connect correctly. I will attempt first. No, it's working fine. So let's check that we have everything here. Yes, we have the omnibus version 3.1.7. So that's great. So the first thing we'll have to do, we'll have to configure the receiver, for example, but the port. So we had UART one turn on and the serial turn on for the ASBUS receiver. Okay, don't forget to press save and reboot. Connecting, and let's do now the configuration. So we can select directly T-Shot 600. Okay, we can, for example, if you prefer motor stop or not, it's up to you. No specific element. Okay, and we can immediately select the serial based receiver and to specialize in ASBUS. Okay, we have some different value. Surprisingly, you saw last time that they choose to apply 2.9 volt on this value on the warning cell. It's a little bit slow, but I will rewrite the default selected one, and we monitor everything. Okay, so maybe the current meters is not very useful, but you can select the ESC sensor. Okay, probably will be better option. So we will now turn off the black box, but turn on the LED strip. Okay, and of course the OSD. Discard the SD card. I will increase the loop to 4 kilos. Okay, and write the craft name to Lizard 95. But even if I won't display the craft name, so I will reboot. Okay, for the CPU usage, we went from 17%, now we are just 23%, so not a big drama. Let's check now the phase safes. Drop is perfect. I will just decrease this value a bit. Press connecting, and then time to go to the PID settings. So as you can see, with Betaflight 3.1.7, the PID settings will change a bit and they increase the D value. So be aware if your motor warm a little bit more with this higher value of D value. So I will apply my preferred rates. Okay, I used to Royce something around 800 degrees. Okay, so 34. And for the YARP command, I prefer a more linear response. So I usually apply something around 33. Okay, like this, 600 degrees for the yaw, 800 for the pitch and roll. I will decrease a little bit also the for angle and horizon the stress to 30. Okay, and for me sounds to be good. I will save. Okay, so the PIDs are correct. Now it's time to go to the receiver. So I have by default this correct channel mapping, so no problem. So maybe I can play a little bit with my scaling to be a little bit more above 1900 and below 1100, but sounds to be good. Don't forget to enable the RSSI on channel 9, okay, and apply some deadband for yaw. Okay, the value of 4 sounds good. Okay, you can save. And now it's time to apply your favorite flight mode. So I will play with the angle mode by default, and my switch one is this 3 positions. So I will apply horizon, okay, for the medium position, and I will add the anti-gravity for both the horizon and the acro. Okay, and I will add air mode also for both. So now the flight mode are okay, and now I will add beeper to my aux2 for me. Okay, and press save. So let's check that. Oh, I have to increase a little bit the value here. Save. Okay, now it's beeping and no problem. I'm in the middle position, got horizon anti-gravity airbot selected, and the last is acro with anti-gravity airbot. So sounds to be good for me. And now it's time to go to the OSD, and I will remove the artificial horizon, the horizon sidebar, the flight on time I will remove, okay, and now I will just keep the crosshair, okay, in the middle and add also the throttle position. So I will now move everything, okay, more or less on the bottom side. Okay, so be aware if you have an OSD, according to your goggles or OSD, some part could be cropped, so you don't have to push too much on the left, on the bottom left and bottom right position. We have also the RSSI. I will display here the RSSI. Okay, and I want to have the battery here. Okay, the flight mode. Okay, and I want to have where is the main battery is here, and the throttle input I can apply here. So sounds good for me. It's up to you. It's according. But be aware, I want also to fly in PAL, so I will select the PAL and fly in matrix. I will also update the capacity of the battery to 550, okay, and the flight time around bounded to something around 5 minutes maximum. Okay, let's say. Now it sounds to be okay, and it's time to configure the LED strip. So you have to press on wire ordering mode, okay, and press the 01 here. In the center will be the 1, the second, and the last the third. You can re-click on wire ordering mode to turn off the positioning. Let's go here on the 0 will be an indicator of the turning, so we can press color. It will be the Larsen effect and an indicator. We can do the same on the third one. Okay, the color, it's a Larsen effect and an indicator. Okay, here we have mode. Okay, and we have to turn throttle and Larsen effect, and the last is also a color, throttle and Larsen effect. Don't forget to press save. Okay, so now everything is configured. You can check the status of the settings, and no problem. Everything sounds great. 23% of usage, so sounds pretty good. So now it's time to fly it and check that this machine is really beastie and accumulate all the advantage of all the Aurora series, and removing the main concern we had with this Firmware model. Let's go! First demo flight of the Lizard 95, so I will start in lost conditions. I will see how this 3S setup will be a beastie. Okay, so just fly and try it small, just to show you punch out, etc., and continue more in FPV. Let's go! Okay, so I will plug the XT30 connector. Okay, and turn on my radio. Okay, no problem. I will record. Yes, sounds to be good. And let's go. So I am in 6-axis stabilized mode. Okay, let's see if we can observe a drift. Small one, not obvious, but okay, I will engage more rate a little bit. But I can tell you that it's punchy. Let's try it. Okay, ready? Oh my god! Look at that! It's impressive. Incredible. Okay, let's see in altitude. No, not so bad. So, rate a little bit slow. Yeah, I should increase a little bit rate, but anyway, let's go in FPV. But it's beastie. I like it.